Today, we will continue our journey of understanding performance management system, and we will take a look at values and the role they play in achieving superlative performance over a long period of time. By the end of this episode, we will share 5 actions that organizations can initiate to sustain their values across the organization to overcome the challenges they face. Hi, I am Subhratu. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Making Performance Achievable. If you are new to my channel, kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell to receive a notification every time I upload new content. Here, I simplify and share tips on achieving and sustaining superlative performance by people, teams, organizations, and leaders. In this episode, we will try to better understand organization values. One of the striking features of successful organization is its ability to display its value in every action and decision they take across the organization. We will also try to understand its importance and share tips on what organizations can initiate to ensure its implementation by its employees across the organization. In my student days, a very senior executive once asked me what would happen if 70 or 80 or maybe 100 managers started reporting to a CEO. How effective do I think that CEO would be? He gave me an example, rather a few examples, not from the corporate world, but from the world of religious organizations. He very pointedly asked, how come a pope has no problem when more than 150 cardinals report to him? He said there are Hindu organizations also which have a very flat structure. 70, 80 branches reporting to a head of the institution. How come they are so effective and efficient in running their organization? I had no clue as to what the reasons were that such organizations can operate with such wide span of controls. And the answer he gave me has stuck with me throughout my life. He said it was because of the shared values. He further explained that any person joining these organizations have no divergence as to the values that the organization upholds. In fact, he said, the value alignment is already there before a person joins the organization. There is only a need to fine-tune it. Due to these shared values across the organization, it is possible for these organizations to operate with very little supervision. They are self-motivated, self-driven to achieve the organization objectives by following and upholding the values of the organization. This is a great example of how shared values can lubricate the functioning of an organization and make it effective and efficient in the long run. The question then we need to ask is, what are values? Generally speaking, values are principles and standards of behavior. Cambridge Dictionary defines values as principles that help us decide what is wrong or right, or how to act in various situations. Organization values can therefore be defined as the guiding principles that help us choose the right decisions and actions at our workplace. So, how do we operationalize values in an organization? And why have values become so important? To answer this question, we have to go back to look at how organizations have transformed over the last 50 years. Organizations which were once centered around strategic structure and systems have rapidly transformed in the last 50 years to organizations centered around purpose, process, and people. Some of the factors influencing this transformation have been the rapidly increasing competition in the market, the speed at which new products have to be delivered to the clients, the speed that is required in responding to the clients and the environment around us. All these have pushed organization into adapting a purpose, process, people approach. This requires that decisions are taken nearest to the point where the challenges are or the customers are. To achieve this, the first requirement is to authorize its people to take decisions, and secondly, people have to be clear as to the intent of the organization and the parameters within which they need to take those decisions. Hence, it has become absolutely essential that people across the organization have a clarity on a set of guiding principles that will help them take the right decisions and the right actions. This gap has been filled by purpose and values. Hence, organization values have become critical in achieving organization success in today's world. So, the question then arises, how effectively are we using the values of the organization to achieve success? Let us reflect on a few issues. How and why have we tried to display the values of the organization in our decisions and the actions that we have taken? Point number 2, how conscious are we to uphold the values of the organization while taking decisions? Point number 3 is for managers having reportees, and how have we encouraged our team members to uphold the value and display it in the decisions and the actions that they take? Point number 4, how many of our team members will be able to actually tell the organization values from their memory? If not, do we really believe that team members who are not able to recollect the organization values are really holding them up when it comes to taking decisions and initiating actions in the organization and for the organization? Take a minute or two and reflect on these questions. How happy and satisfied are we with what we are doing to uphold the values of the organization and leveraging it for our and organization success? Needless to say, establishing shared values in an organization and employees acting in accordance to these values have a number of advantages. First, shared values has an ability to strengthen bonding among all its employees. Also, our team members have this innate human need to be accepted as part of the organization and by their colleagues. Shared organization values help employees to understand what is an acceptable action and what is not. This understanding of what is an acceptable action or an acceptable behavior in an organization helps employees to empathize with his or her colleagues. As researchers have shown, empathy is a very important emotional competence required to work as a team in an organization. Empathy also helps to integrate new employees into the organization at a much faster rate. In today's business reality, employees come from various backgrounds with various experiences and stay for a very short span of time. This churn among people makes it even more difficult for organization to establish shared values in the organization. We need to remember that values also play an important role in attracting and retaining critical talents. All of us would want to work in organizations having clear values and which encourage respect to employees. So what actions can organizations and leaders take to establish shared values in an organization? First and foremost, we have to define our values clearly. Second, share the values across the organization clearly and repeatedly. Ensure decisions and actions and people behavior are in accordance with the organization values. Wherever possible, identify the behavior that needs to be displayed by the employee to uphold the organization values. This will bring in clarity and will reduce the gap in the expected behavior and the actual behavior. Fourth, continuously identify gaps in people behavior and close it so that adherence to our values can be strengthened. Fifth, and most importantly, align people with the organization values by emphasizing how these values help people in their life overall to be better and to be trustworthy. It is the understanding of how these values impact positively people in their life that helps align and bring commitment among people to the organization values. This alignment is critical in ensuring that people are aligned in their behavior with organization values. We all know that for values to be displayed across the organization, it is essential that leaders display these values. There is no point in repeatedly telling people about the values and its importance unless it is backed by actual behavior by the leaders. The moment employees see a slippage in upholding the value by the leader, their commitment itself to the values come down. As one of my superiors who has been a coach and a mentor for me used to tell me, it is difficult to hide our actions from our superiors. It is impossible to hide it from our subordinates. Leaders have to take the initiative to set the example in upholding the values. Last but not the least, in the pressure to deliver results within the timelines, we very often lose sight of whether our actions are in adherence with our values. I will end this video with 3 suggestions. The first is, let's make a list of all the things that we can do to uphold values in our organization. 2, let us see how well aware are our team members about the values of the organization, and do they understand the importance of upholding them. 3, what we can do to leverage values to increase empathy among the team members that we work with. Thank you for staying till the end and watching this episode. We will meet next weekend. Till then, goodbye. Have a great time.